There's a big fat one, a skinny one, and a medium-sized one. I love Formula Drift.
No stranger to drifting, no stranger to competition.
That guy stole my freaking ratchet wrench. I see that. That's mine.
He rejects your reality and inserted his own.
This is a stimulator, right?
Pilot. The pole petition.
Matt Shulman still on top with the 69.
Hey folks, welcome. Let's start things off a little different this time around, and
that was very different.
Yes, indeed. Don't worry about it. Just roll with me here.
Okay,
so we're gonna go ahead and start things off with just a couple of quick announcements. Just remind you folks that tomorrow there's gonna be a drift event happening at Orlando Speed World. So for information on that, be sure to check out OSW Drift.
Did you go to Orlando this people the other day?
For a personal trip.
Yeah,
I mean, we spoke about the Tesla experience, which didn't go as well as I thought it would, but whatever.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, that's not a big deal. We have that going on. Fuel Fest is right around the corner as well. Another thing to highlight is the NMRA event taking place at Orlando, March 3rd to the 4th. If you're in town, be sure to check that out. We'll be there to cover the event and do some announcing as well. But let's go ahead and get this show on the road and have Tim introduce our special guest of the evening. Tim.
Yes, so our special guest is a man that we never really got to meet. Interestingly enough, we look around different areas of, especially the East Coast, and we kind of just let people know, hey, there's other events going on. We're in our own little pocket down here in South Florida. And once in a while we'll get on there and we'll just start looking up at events, and we'll let people know that maybe they're gonna visit certain areas. They can get a little a taste of the local drift scene in that area. So we came across Catch My Drift, CMD, right? And looked up this man, Joe Gorcesky, and he actually was willing enough to come on and do a little interview and give us some more feedback on how drifting is in his neck of the woods. So welcome, Joe Gorcesky.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you.
Hey.
Yeah. No. Thank you for coming on, right? Like, we never met. I think this is probably the first time we've ever talked, and you probably never heard of us. We just up until recently didn't even know what Catch My Drift was, right? Because we get stuck in our own little pocket, and it's always fun. And one of the things I enjoy most about traveling and going to drift events, and you voiced this as well, is getting out of your little pocket and meeting people in other areas of the country that like to drift. So I guess let's just start off. Joe, like, where do you come from? When did you start drifting? What got you into it?
Okay, so yeah, I'm from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Man, I got into drifting in 2006. So I've been in it for a little while.
Oh, wow.
You know, I went to my first drift event, MBDrift, right here in Myrtle Beach. It was crazy, man. I got out of UTI. I went to UTI in Orlando. And I went and I saw their first practice event. And then I went to the next one. I had a 300ZX twin turbo C32 stock, went out there, spun out probably 40 times, had the time of my life. But I mean, like, I kind of stumbled upon drifting because it wasn't really known much then. I had my 300ZX. Dude, I go on YouTube, just punch in 300ZX, just car videos, and I found it was an option video. I'm sure you guys have seen it with the dirt bikes, the dirt bikes jumping over the drift cars. And once I saw that, I was like, dude, this is what I got to do, right? Like I was set. I I was working a dead end job, and I knew that if I was going to be a drifter, I would have to work on the car, right? So I was like, hey, I got to become a mechanic, right? I didn't really turn wrenches. My dad didn't. And that's when I went to UTI and kind of learned how to do that kind of stuff. Came back to Myrtle Beach, and then just so happens that MBDrift Series started, and I jumped on in, man. You know, I did a couple of years with them, and then I kind of jumped on board and helped them. You know, I kind of became staff and drove, did a competition series. It was great though back then, man. You know, that was like the golden age of drifting for me. You know, like you can go out there with NAKA 240SX and you know, dominate as long as you can drive well. You know, it was just a different time, and you know, we were stoked to get a top 8. You know, we had like 8 drivers for a competition. We're like, we can do a real top 8. You know, it was awesome though, man. Like I really loved it, and just continued on with it for years. You know, just helped them guys out for a long time, and you know, I helped them do events. You know, we did the series. I was a series champ at one point. Helped judge, run it, promote it, all that stuff. But you know, in Myrtle Beach, when you're by the coast, it's hard to pull people. You know, it's early on, so it's kind of hard, but it grew over time, and it was great. And eventually, we had the opportunity to do an event somewhere else, like in Myrtle Beach, out of this Myrtle Beach Speedway, and it was a lot of work, but I mean, it was really good. And you know, I kind of was like, hey guys, you know, I think we should start doing events other places. You know, let's start going out. You know, at that time, it was just like Atlanta and Myrtle Beach. And, you know, and then it was like, all right, but they thought it was a risk. So we kind of like split, you know? So me and my, my partner kind of left and started doing events elsewhere, and they kind of had the MBDrift scene here. And, but it was good, man. You know, yeah, I've been in it a long time. Did ProAM stuff with Streetwise Drift for a while. That was about it though. I did the Streetwise stuff and the Myrtle Beach stuff, you know?
Yeah.
What car were you driving in the Streetwise Drift?
So I had, man, I bought my 240SX S13, right? I bought it back in the day, $300 running and driving.
Wow.
Yeah.
Single
for that type.
Right?
Yeah.
Single jingle. Picked it up, drove it to my mom's house, right? And it was crazy, man. Like I always knew I wanted to do a Sil front, you know, Sylvia front.
Yeah.
And I wanted SR, right?
Yeah.
I bought a front clip from Malaysia. Okay, it's called flashoptions.net. Oh my gosh.
Really?
It took me 3 years to get this front clip.
Wow. That's patience right there.
I thought I was ripped off, right? Like no lie, bro. I was at UTI. I'd be calling this number like every day, right? I would get a phone card, and it was like, I forgot how many digits. I think it was like 24 digits. And I would call them so often, I memorized the whole thing, right? I just constantly calling them all times, day and night. I'm like, where is this? So I gave up on it. You know, I came back from school, and just so had my mom goes, hey, I think one of your friends is playing a prank on you. They said that your motor's coming in, your front clip is coming into Charleston. I was like, Mom, I don't think that's a joke. Like, that was real. Who called? You know what I mean? I was like, you gotta be kidding me, right? So, dude, it was serious. I called the port, like, yeah, it's coming. And I didn't have a truck. I didn't have a trailer. You know, I had nothing. I borrowed them, went on down. The front clip barely fit in the trailer. I got it back. And I mean, it was good, but a lot of the stuff got stolen or beat up. You know what I mean? But it was still SR red top. Had an HCAS turbo on it and some other goodies, coilovers, you know, and the body was a little beat up. But then I took all that stuff and swapped it over to the 240, and I even did the right-hand drive swap. You know, this is back in the day, you know. So it took a little while, but that's what I did with Streetwise Drift. You know, went out there and blew up some SR20s like a lot of people.
Can't afford to do that anymore.
Yeah, no, you're right, man. I mean, I swear, I've legit probably blown up, I think, 10 of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've dumped a lot of money in my. I even did the VE head and all that stuff, and still blew up. You know.
Wow. Okay.
So I moved on to LS, but it was great though. I mean, it was still a great experience. You know, I loved it.
Yeah.
I still got the car today. It's LS swap now though.
Okay. Now you started off in a 300Z, you said?
Yeah, Z, and I still got that too. Z32
really?
turbo. I bought that car when I was in high school, and I had that one. My S13. I even had S14. a Zenki. I used to drift to open diff. But, eventually got rid of that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of them was either the Z32 or the S13 right-hand drive.
Yeah, and you've been in the S13 ever since?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, but I jumped in a lot of cars. It's funny, the year I won the championship for MBDrift, we did 9 events for the series. I legit borrowed a different car every event. And that was really cool. They called me the leech from the beach. And that was great, man. Like, I'd be walking around when it come up to qualifying time, like, hey, man, let me borrow your car. Let me just do a qualifying lap. And then I jump in, and I did well, and yeah, I did pretty good at it. But when I got to the Pro-Am level, I mean, that really, that put me on my place, I guess. It's like, okay, I'm not on that level yet. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a lot of that has to do with the car as well, and learning how to find the track quickly, find the line quickly. That's where you don't get much seat time, you don't get much practice, and then you're going right into competition. So, which was your first Pro-Am? Was your first Pro-Am down at PBIR?
Let's see here. I don't think that was the opener, right, of that year.
So you did the whole season?
Let's see here, because I remember Streetwise, like, I think it was their first year. The end of their first year, they did an event at Charlotte Motor Speedway, right? Mm-hmm. And they did a competition. This was crazy. I mean, back then, that was a big deal. The road course at Charlotte, that must have been like 2009 or so.
Yeah, and those garages are no joke. They're like really nice.
Right. Yeah. It was huge, man. And like, they were growing, and they had 3 run groups, and they put me in the last one because they know who I was. Mm-hmm. And it was funny back then, they didn't do tandem comps. It was single run, kind of deal, right? And I love that one though, man. There was a night, it turned to night, it was raining, and man, I just threw it down and I actually won it. It was pretty wild. I think it was like 40 some odd drivers, and then next year they had Pro-Am. I think it was Charlotte was the first round. I think they went back to Charlotte, but I did a lot of those events with Brian. Brian Phillips, he did a great job with that series, I thought. I always had fun.
Yeah. I haven't talked to him in a while. Have you talked to him recently?
Yeah, I'll chat with him here and there. He said he'll come out to the Lanier event because he's down that way. Okay. So look forward to seeing him again.
Yeah, you haven't seen him in a long time. I remember the first time. So being from South Florida, it's a different culture, right? The way we say hello. It's a very Latin influenced culture. So coming from Miami, the South Florida area, I remember I met him a couple times, and we had a couple drinks or whatever. I met his wife. They're super awesome, and I think it was when they came down to PBIR, or I don't know I forget exactly when it was. But I saw his wife, and I came out, gave a hug and a kiss on the cheek, because that's kind of like what you do down here, right? You say hello, it's like a kiss on the cheek. That's just, I think it's very Latin influenced culture down here. It must have threw for a doozy, because up in Atlanta and Georgia, that's not like a thing. Like you're in my space. So we were somewhere eating dinner, and he came up to me. He's like, "So I heard you kissed my wife."
Dang, bro.
And I'm like, "Yeah." I go, "That's what we do. That's just the culture." I know he wasn't serious, right? It was just one of those things. Like, he kind of sat next to me and grilled me, and we laughed about it. And just from then on, he knew where I was, and we just had a good time. He's always had a good sense of humor and put up with my crazy antics. I think one time we were at PBIR it was a PBIR, me, Chris Jackson, and Bill Stanger, Bill Fisher, depending on how you know him. We're all sitting there, and his wife was trying to hand out all the lanyards right before the driver's meeting. And I looked at it, I was like, "Oh, you're so naughty," right? Because they're all tied in a knot. And her husband looks at me like what are you doing? And Jackson's laughing, Bill is laughing. I'm like, I just thought it was funny, Couldn't get them, they're all tied in a knot,
You're cringe.
Yeah, I'm cringe. I'm cringe. I'm told I'm very cringe. Oh, well, whatever. So, all right, so you start off in 300Z. Blew a whole bunch of SRs. You had some experience. You're competing, you're winning competitions, having a good time, making memories, building friendships with those that are in the areas. At what time did you decide to? Now, you said after Myrtle Beach you split off to start running events. Was that you starting the Catch My Drift? series?
So kind of. So I run the events with the guys. It's funny, man. My parents are really big supporters of me, right? They come to almost every event. My little grassroots stuff. They actually cook food for everybody. And back in the day, they're like, "No, we should make you T-shirts." You know what I mean? This is before people started doing that kind of stuff. And they came out with a T-shirt. I had "Built Not Bought" was one, and I had another one that said "Girls Like It When I Hit It Sideways." Right. So that was like pretty much the start. Was like CMD Catch My Drift was apparel, merchandise. I did like driver interviews. It was kind of like a sideshow from the MBDrift thing. And then, when we were deciding, all right, let's start a new organization and go elsewhere and do this kind of stuff. Me and my friends, my family were like, all right, what are we going to call it? And we came up with all kinds of names. And I still had CMD, I still had the LLC, I still had apparel. I'm like, well, what about just keeping the CMD thing? And everyone was like, yeah, that just sounds good. It's not stuck to one area. And that was it. It just kind of took off from there.
Oh, good. And then, so once you started running events, what would you say was one of your biggest challenges learning to run events, and how were you able to overcome that?
Oh man, and that's why I was like so fortunate. Like MBDrift, they like took me on, and I got that experience at the local speedway. You're not putting up the risk of the money and the insurance and all this stuff. So the speedway kind of gave me that experience. So leaving from there, I had a good bit, but one of my first big events going on my own, I ran it out Atlanta Motor Speedway. And that was a big jump and a big learning curve from the small little Myrtle Beach Speedway grassroots kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But it was a banger though, man. I came out swinging. I had Aaron Losey come out, be one of our guests, and Fielding Shredder. Dustin Miles was there. Bear Dellinger. It was good. We had like 80 drivers. I had the road course and the media lot, and that was good, man. It was a good way to kick off the year, but what a poor choice when to do it, because that was 2020. You know what I mean? That's like right when COVID hit. So that was a struggle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so that was probably your toughest event you think you've ever had to run?
Man, I'll tell you what, that's hard to say, but I will tell you the night before that event, I literally did not sleep like a wink. Like I went to bed at 10 and I just stayed up all night, lights off, like my wife's next to me. I couldn't even sleep. Like I was so nervous, but it turned out all right, and then later that year here in Myrtle Beach, we had an abandoned amusement park, right? Huge parking lot, like 200,000 square feet. And that was awesome, right? So I teamed up with another organization. They came down, and this was during the Slammed Enough car show weekend in Myrtle Beach. So I had no idea how many people would come to this thing. I had like 40, 50 cars there, my normal 100, 200 people. But when it hit about 4 o'clock, that turned into like 1,000 people real quick. And that was difficult because I didn't have the staffing and the security, So that was a really scary one, but it was good too because a lot of people like that event, I will say.
Yeah. What would you say? So running events, right? Having new people come in and start drifting. What would you probably, or what could you remember as the sketchiest car to try to pass tech?
Woo, man.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one. There's always
that's tough too because when it's your name, when you're signing the paperwork, it's a little different, right? You're going to be a little bit more strict. And safety is big. It is, of course. It's number one. But when we're at the old speedway, we could let a lot of stuff slide. You know what I mean? And there'd be some cars that probably shouldn't have passed, but we let them go. It was slow speed stuff, though. We were going like 30, 40 at the most. So it wasn't too bad.
Any cars where you were just absolutely no? I'm sorry, man. It's just, this is too bad.
Back then, I'm going to say no. I don't think I did, and but I didn't always tech the cars either. You know what I mean? Like I had to do other stuff as well. But now that it's under my name, we've had to deny some people. Like, sorry, you don't got this stuff and you're not prepared for the day, but it's your responsibility to show up with the right car, the right equipment. Yeah. You just got to, man.
Yeah, no, we've had So, I think the Florida area was always known for like the drivers were good, but the cars were really bad, really bad, and like just even the thought process of some of the things that would come out of people's mouth. I think one time somebody was like, I go to the guy, I was like, hey, listen, your battery's not tied down, and he's like, no, it's okay, it's heavy. I'm like, no, I'm not. It's not like an option here. Like, I'm not asking you, hey, what's going to happen here? And then his seat only had like one bolt on. He's like, no, but I'll be sitting in it.
Dude,
Yeah.
dude, I don't get it, man. Battery tie downs, all the seat bolts, and all your lug nuts and studs, right? Like, that's the number one thing. And and you're right though with the Florida thing though, man, because I held a couple events at the firm, and my boy Ben Threlkill, he's my tech guy, and he's like some are good, some are not good, But there's other areas, like I will say Atlanta. I love them guys. I love the Atlanta people, and we have a great relationship. But some of them cars just were not prepared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just were not. Same thing. Seat bolts missing. It had the two fronts, but not the rear, and he didn't see it as a big deal. I'm like, dude, were you crazy? Like,
yeah. A good friend of ours actually moved down from Georgia. You probably, I mean, I'm sure he did some of Nick Ward.
Oh yeah. I know
he
Nick.
came down here. He lives down here in Fort Lauderdale. I got to meet him at the KMS event at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We did a KMS. It got rained out. Dai Yoshihara was there. It was a fun event, but it was a lot of rain. And I got to meet him there. He moved down. And one of the things that when he came down, it was one of the things I remember him telling me is that he said, we got some good drivers down here. We really have some high-level drivers down here, but the cars just aren't the level. And up there, you guys have some freaking ridiculous builds. There's a lot of guys that are building some insane cars. What do you say to the guy that's coming in newer to drifting as far as advice on choosing a platform when it comes to, because some guys just want to come in with 1,000 horsepower right off the bat, and some guys will start off and still in a KA 240. What would you advise somebody that's coming new into drifting and how they should start their progression in their drift career?
I'm still a firm believer on like pretty much stock, man. I mean, that's how I learned. I really did. Like even the angle stuff, like take away that, so you get a better feel for when it would over rotate, learn that as you go. I love a 350Z. I mean, I know they're a dime a dozen. I know they sound like a trumpet, but they're cheap. They're fairly easy to work on. They drive well. Same with Beamer. I'm just not a big Beamer fan working on them. That's all. But either one, like get both of them, get a good seat, get a good steering wheel, and just go from there, man. Get that seat time in. That's it. Get that seat time. Yeah.
Now, most of your events, they're primarily geared towards seat time, right?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Okay. That's, I love my drivers. I am a driver. And that was the worst thing going to an event. You spend all that money and all that time, you get out there and you only get, 4 or 5 laps. Like, nah, man. I'd rather see someone come out to one of my events. Yeah, sure, the entry fee might be a little bit high, but the prize is high. But I still want you to leave there with hours of seat time. I want to make sure you get some seat time in, get some media, get some experience. But yeah, I'm all about the seat time, man. I do. I put a driver cap on every event I got.
Okay. What do you usually cap it at?
Depending on the venue. So I got one that I do in Raleigh right now that flows really well. So I cap it about 75 or 80, depending on what we're doing. Like the ones here in Myrtle, now I do like 50. Okay. It just all depends on the layout. What we're capable of doing and how much room you got.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like Atlanta Motor Speedway. If you had just the media lot, there's no way you're getting more than 40, 50 cars over in that little area to park. So
yeah,
it's like Sebring. You can with running the 2 tracks, you get a lot of people in there.
Yeah, Sebring's a nice course. Sebring's a really nice course. Yeah. A lot of fun. Ben, did you have something?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're running events, having a good time. You're also competing at the same time, I guess, right? Around that time.
I would say as I on occasion I would go to another event organizer's organization and run my car there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That way I don't worry about nothing. Just drive.
Right. One thing I do want to touch on, you mentioned earlier how you weren't really like, you got into drifting knowing the sport that it is, knowing that you can't afford to, it's enough to just afford a drift car. You have to learn to work on it yourself, repair yourself. But that kind of seemed like it evolved your career outside of drifting as well, did it? Because are you teaching at the Academy for Technology?
Yes, sir.
So how did that?
And Economics. Yeah. Isn't that crazy, man? So I got a UTI. I worked at a Toyota dealership, then a Dodge dealership, and I was making great money, and I could support the habit, right? And then and my wife's a teacher too, and she's like, "Hey, babe, they're looking for an automotive teacher," and I just I always wanted to do it. I had some great mentors getting in the dealership myself, and going to UTI, I had some great teachers, and I always thought, hey, maybe one day I could do that. And I took the dive and never looked back. And I love my job. I do.
So I'm sure you get a lot of your students are probably really into what you do on the side. How often do you get pulled aside from the students and say, hey man, I want to learn how to drift, where do I go?
Oh, every day. And I let any of my set crew, we get them rides, get them into it, but I tell the kids too, just because I'm a drifter doesn't mean I don't like drag racing or mudding or trucking or whatever, if it goes, I'm into it, and they all just pulled the transmission out of a car, every group, and 2 of them were drift cars. So they love it. You know what I mean? It's good.
Nice. I'm sure your drift buddy's like, hey man, you want to take my car as a project?
Yeah, we've done some work, some alignments. I got a dyno at the school, so that's real cool.
Oh, sweet.
Oh,
yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, my school takes care of me, man. They really do.
And how long you been teaching?
This is my 6th year.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been a ride, and really there's no way I could have run CMD like I am, if I was still a mechanic. I was working 70 hours a week usually, I'm like most people.
Yeah, but I find it interesting. A lot of times when I talk to people that been drifting for a long time, very seldom do you see like drifting actually shaped your career path in life. I think that's kind of interesting. That's an interesting story. A lot of guys come from previous motorsports, especially now you got a lot of guys come from motocross, like Connor O'Sully and Alec Hunterdale and all these guys. A lot of I'm sure way more than that came from these extreme motorsports and just seemed to really adapt and take off as their career in drifting, and just be able to adapt and have that, not have that fear, right? It's that they're unlocked from the fear because it's much safer than what they were doing before. So it's cool to see. But the question I want to ask you, so I mean, you've been watching and around drifting since 2006, right?
Yes, sir.
If you can look back and think, do you think drifting has progressed the way you thought it might have, or you think maybe it exceeded your expectations, or were you even thinking about it?
That's a good question. What I think it is? I think it's just more spread out now. You know what I mean? Like back with Streetwise, there wasn't many other events like that. So those events were really popping. Like some people argue with me, I tell them like drifting's the #1 growing sport, motorsport. I'm like, it's crazy. Like it's just growing. Like, not really. Events back in like 2011 and 12 were bigger. I'm like, no, it's a little bit more spread out now, but I still see it growing every year. I do. More and more drivers, more spectators. I don't see it going away. That's for sure. And I'm happy, and that's my main goal with all this. I want to see drifting be as big as NASCAR. That's like my ultimate goal, man. I'm supportive of every organization, everyone doing events. Like I'm all about it, man. Let's just grow the scene.
Yeah. Where do you see the future of competitive drifting going?
Well, I hope it's going somewhere because I took a big dive this year. So, you know what I mean? But I hope, I would like to see, I don't know, more big money events. I mean, that's what the drivers want, obviously. Even the grassroots series, I want it all, man. I love competition. That's me. And it's weird. I feel like it was like comp, then just bash stuff, and now comps are really coming back. It's like now, all right, all these guys spend a lot of money and time on their builds and seat time, and now it's like, all right, now let's see who's the best, and well, I think comps are great, man. You're going to line up against someone that you may not ever ask to do tandem, right? You might be forced to go drive with them, and that might be your next new best pal, and that's what I love about this sport.
Yeah, that was one of the things that when we first heard about Klutch Kickers, right? Klutch Kickers has kind of like a place in our hearts, right? Because we had the privilege to be a part of it for a few years and watch it. Just the success from us, and really, in all honesty, we were major doubters, right? Because when Klutch Kickers came out, COVID was going down, and some would say COVID actually helped because I think the majority of the Klutch Kickers audience was a live stream audience. Because you go to events and there was a good amount of people there, but it wasn't the thousands upon thousands that were watching it worldwide that made it that phenomenon. But also, they came out of nowhere with this cash payouts that were just not, was unheard of. And now you're seeing, I mean, you guys are giving away a good amount of money for your series, and it's great to see that. And one would wonder why it took Klutch Kickers to come out with such a series that even surpassed Formula Drift, right? It's when it comes to payouts. And then now people are like, oh, well, the Klutch Kickers can do it. How come Formula Drift's not doing it? What are your thoughts about the payout thing? I mean, do you think that should have been happening a long time ago, or how are you even able to, like, that's a lot. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of investment. I mean, what are your thoughts just on payouts and drifting in these like smaller events versus these pro events?
I know, it is crazy. That always like boggled my mind. I would go to Road A and watch the event and go to the celebration. I'm like, how much are these guys getting for the winnings? And I'm like, that's it? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Like what's first place now? $5,000 or something like that. I think it's like $5,000. It's nothing crazy. I mean, these cars have what, $100,000 for these cars now? And that's what competing for.
And I think we did the numbers. I sat down with Jackson one time. We were hashing out the numbers, the spectators, and how much they're probably bringing in on a Road Atlanta weekend, and it was in the millions.
Wow.
Because you figure how many, how many thousands upon thousands of people are coming in. It was like up and over the $1 million range. Now, I don't know. We don't know the books, right? But if you've been to a Road Atlanta event, it's probably one of the most insane events in the series.
Yes. Yeah. It is kind of surprising. I'm sure that operation costs a lot, though, like you said. The book,
they do have it,
right? I mean, they got it going on, right? But I mean, we're gonna make it happen. The only way that this 50K series is possible is with Clean Culture's big car show. You know what I mean? They bring the spectators, man. They do. Their event at Lanier last year, he told me about 500 show cars and like easily 2,500 people. Like that's nuts. To me, to go out there and drift in front of a crowd like that, that's gotta get you going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing that we experienced here with Fuel Fest came down.
Yeah,
is they brought a lot of spectators.
Oh, it was. I think they had a count last year. Fuel Fest at the South Florida Fairgrounds in West Palm Beach. It was almost 8,000 people, and they had Ludacris. Yeah, I was. We did the live stream for them over the drift paddock and walked around, did some interviews, and then I got hired to do the announcing as the MC on the main stage. And they brought Ludacris in. What's his name? The basketball player.
Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman was there because I mean they have the pool, right? It's Fast and Furious. They have Cody Walker is the one that runs it, so they have the pool, right? These guys can come in, Tyrese can come in and come out there, and it brings people. But that was the biggest event that we've seen in this area in a long time, where, like you said, you got this car show, massive car show, brings these people, and then they were able to do drift. Now, there wasn't a drift competition. It was more just like practice day. And on the 25th, they're coming back down again, so I assume it's going to be just as big as it was last year. With the turnout and everything like that. But it's great to see, and I think that's something that's needed. I mean, I love drifting, and I'm sure a lot of drifters don't want to have people walking through their pits, right, that don't know anything about drifting. Yeah. I mean, I can see how that's irritating. I think I even had stuff stolen from the track from probably spectators coming through my pit and everything because you're away from the car. But it's building the audience. It's making new fans. people that maybe have only ever seen drifting on takeover videos.
Well, that was the funny thing is when I was going to get food at Fuel Fest, I was listening to these people talk about the drifting. And he was like, "What do you think the favorite thing is here?" I mean, the drifting. The drifting is definitely the best thing. That's the first time I ever seen that. And they were talking about trying to get into because they were giving away ride along passes.
Oh, yeah.
You remember? And they were trying to figure out how do we get along? How do we get a ride along? They were really excited about the drifting. So it's definitely cool when you have like the clean culture events and the
collaboration events.
The collaboration events where you get these people that wouldn't normally go to a drift event involved in drifting. So
yeah, so that's great what you're doing, and I'm definitely rooting for you guys to have more and more success because it's only going to build a fan base, increase the scene, and increase the vendors that want to make parts for the cars. You know what I'm saying? It's everybody wins at the end of the day, and that's what we need to do. So, hats off to you. It's not easy. It's not easy, and you have to sacrifice what you love to do. You really want to be driving. You don't want to be out there and and watch the people drift. So,
but it is great. It is great to host that day, though, man. And all the guys just come up and thank you, and they had a great time. It means a lot. It does. It's good. But yeah, I mean the car show thing. We used to have Nopi. Remember Nopi?
Yeah.
Nopi.
I used to go
Nopi
up there
huge.
every year.
Right? We had Nopi in Myrtle Beach, and that was like the closest thing to that kind of atmosphere, and it was great. And then after that slammed enough pre-meet deal I did it with a drift event, and I had 1,000 people. I was like, all right, this is where it's at. You got to get the car show people and the drifting people together because people don't want to just look at car show stuff all day. They want to check out the drifting and vice versa. You don't want to just look at drifting all day. Like you want to go check out some cool cars too. So I just think it's a win-win for everybody, but I got to give big props to Nick Terzo from Clean Culture for taking the dive with me. Because you think about it, he's still going to have his spectators, his 500 show cars, he's still getting that. He was like, why should I give away $10,000 at these events? Right. When how much more is it going to benefit us? But he sees the vision, and I just hope it goes well. That's it.
Yeah. How is it finding volunteers? Because I know volunteers make up a major portion. A lot of drivers volunteer, or do you have a good set of volunteers?
I have a great crew. I really do, man. I got friends that have been driving with me for a long time, and they come to pretty much all my events. Do whatever they got to do and just help me out. Usually I don't need to ask for local volunteers. Usually my crew is coming with me. So that's not so bad. And then like these big ones with Clean Culture, he brings a lot of help too, but as far as running the drift show, we got that,
Okay.
So how did this come about? Did they approach you or did you approach them? And how was that all sorted out?
So last year, Clean Culture did one in Charlotte, and I hit them up because after that crazy event I had from the Slam Enough thing, I was just looking around for car show companies and stuff like that. A local friend of mine gave me his contact, followed up with him. He was interested, a couple phone calls, he's from New York. I'm from New York. We get along. You know what I mean? Bada boom. And next thing you know, we're lining up crazy stuff because he wanted to do events with me this year. He was like, hey, I like how you ran Charlotte. It was smooth. I like your brand. Let's keep this going. And I'm like, all right, cool. So we were going to do some more events that I could do with him. And then when I found out Klutch Kickers was out, I was like, there's a big vacancy there. There is. Yeah. And it's not like I'm just trying to take that away from them. I'm just trying to fill the void. You got a lot of cars and people built this programs for a series like that. And now there's nothing. Yeah. It's like, yeah, you can go up north. Like there's a couple up north, I know, but that's far drive too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with Clean Culture, he's already got all these cool venues. He already had them. He's already got them lined up. I'm like, bro, let's do some comps at these. He's got some nice stuff, man. He does.
Did you have some?
No, go ahead.
Oh, no. Okay. So you got together with them, and this is going to be your first full season with them. and this and hopefully many more seasons to come, because you're right, Klutch Kickers not being around this year did leave a void, and even in Florida, right? In all honesty, when Klutch Kickers came down to Freedom Factory, it was great that Cletus and the Klutch Kicker crew were able to get the next season going on. Of course, there was a lot of bad weather. That weather was really the killer for their last season, but it still kind of lost a little bit of its charisma coming from the Emerald Coast Dragway over to the Freedom Factory. A lot of guys didn't like the bank. A lot of guys didn't want to drive further down into Florida. They lost a lot of drivers because that Panhandle of Florida is a good area to be, because you don't have to drive all the way down into the pit that we are in. It's like everything, all the garbage kind of just flows down. If you look at the map, it's like a natural sewer, but it's our sewer and we love it. But funny, it had, man. It was in an area that made it accessible for guys coming from Texas and Tennessee and Georgia and the Carolinas. So it was great to be a part of that when it was there. And hopefully, I know there's talks of them trying to open up something, or maybe rumors that they'll get Emerald Coast Dragway back again. But it's great that in all honesty, even if Klutch Kickers does come back next year, that shouldn't prevent you from doing what you're doing.
I don't know, man. That's a tough question. You know what I mean? Because we'll just have to see how the season goes, and there's only so many drivers to fill those kind of events. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's really it. Do you really see having? I mean, face it, right now with me, Riverside, they're giving away a ton of money, and then the Gambler. You got 3 already. Now let's throw back KK back in the mix, and I gotta give them props, man. They ran a great show. I used to love watching the live stream. I'm like, dude, this is better than FD. I thought I'm like, this is fantastic. Right. So it's gonna be tough. If they come back swinging, I don't know. We'll just have to reevaluate and see if it's worth it.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned the other series, and I just want to ask: is how do you plan to stand out, and also why should drivers participate in your series?
Okay, that's a good one. I would say, besides the money, I mean, going to a big show like that with a lot of spectators, I think that's a good draw. I am going to have live stream. I have some sponsors lined up for additional prizes. We're going to do paid ride-alongs after the event. Make some money back. Try and throw in some different stuff. We are doing the tire limit. I think that kind of levels out the playing field a little bit. So I hope. You know what I mean? And then like the courses I'm laying out, I want to do more technical. So the lower horsepower guys can hang. But yeah, I mean, I think I have a pretty good reputation. If you know any drivers have been to any of my events, they usually have a good time, and hopefully I win them over and keep coming back, man. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So walk us through a Catch My Drift event. You go into tech, or maybe not an event, but this series, right? Yeah. What are some of the
well, you're not doing qualifying, right?
Right, you're not doing qualifying. So lead us through the process. Yeah. Walk through the process of how you came up with some of the rules, the tire rule, the no qualifying. Kind of walk us through what inspired the layout of this event.
Sure. I mean, most of these events are one day, so there's no way we could do qualifying. I mean, there's just not enough time. Sure, maybe if I limit to 32 drivers, but we really wanted to do more than that. And honestly, I mean, qualifying is just boring. I mean, it really it is, and it takes a long time, and then people complain about it, and then who knows, that car breaks on the way back to the pits, and then he gets a bye anyway. It's just, to me, like I ran a good comp this last year up in Raleigh, a little grassroots thing. I did 32 random draw, and everyone loved it because it was just like action, boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? And the event was over pretty quick, or the competition was over quick, and we got back to the fun runs, So we just felt like that 48 was a good number. I know, people are going to get buys, but the best driver of the day is going to win. I mean, that's just how I feel. True. I mean, I looked at my list. I'm like, dude, there's 8, 10, 12, like really good drivers that, you're going to have to beat to win the show. So that was it. The tire size, I thought 265 was good. Fielding Shredder, when he came out to my AMS event, he was the biggest pusher for the 265. Like, he was like, dude, I run out my Z, a stock 350Z, 265, and other drivers there, and he just tells us, like, do 265, you have too much grip, pump up the air pressure. And I can get a 265 tire, Kenda, for like $110, $115, and sometimes that's cheaper than a 235 or a 225 or whatever else you want to run. It just seems like that 265 is a good mid ground. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So how are you going to do qualifying? You're going to do a random draw?
Yep.
Numbers
Just
out of the
random
hat?
draw. Yeah. I'm thinking that the driver's meeting, either I'm going to put numbers face down, and as you come in, you just pick it up and there's your draw. Or, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, how you doing? What's your name? Boom, there's your number. You know what I mean? Here's a cookie from my mom. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, I plan on having my mom make some amazing baked goods. Probably make some for the drivers. I did that in Atlanta, man. She does a great job. And, I just try to make it lively, fun, safe. But, time is short, like, we got to get to the show. So I think just eliminating that seems the easiest way. So we'll do that driver's meeting, tell you who you're lined up against later, go out and practice for the day, and let's get the show on the road.
Are the rules set for the whole year, or are you going to have it be adjustable as the series progresses? Like, for instance, let's say the 265, for whatever reason, doesn't work out. I'm not saying that it will, won't, whatever, but let's say you want to make adjustments where it's like, okay, we'll accept 275, or we're gonna switch it up to 285 or something like that. Or another part of the rules where instead of a 200 protest fee, it could go up to 300 because it seems like
everybody is protesting.
People starts to abuse the system. So are you gonna have the rules be flexible, or are you set for the whole year?
So that's a good one right there. Now that I got some judges on board, I'm going to let them kind of put their influence or their opinion into that, and kind of agree upon what we should do. I've already talked to the judges. Like, one was kind of like, hey, maybe we should do open qualifying format. We just run them for an hour or two and pick out numbers. And I'm like, I'm not crazy about that, honestly. Because you might get a guy, hey, you didn't see this one run I did?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That's how it goes, because I've done that before. But, I mean, if everyone complains, I listen to drivers. In the drivers meeting, I tell everybody, listen, if something sucks, if I suck, tell me I suck. All right? Don't go on the internet and blast it all over the place. Just come up to me and talk to me and give me your opinion. Like, I value the drivers' opinions very highly. And I'm a pretty easygoing guy, and I just want to put on the best event possible for these drivers. They're putting a ton of time and money and effort into these things. I just want them to have like the best day possible.
Mm-hmm. Who are the judges?
Oh, good one. All right. Mm-hmm. So, and this hasn't been announced yet. I was saving it for this.
You don't have to if you don't.
I was saving it for you guys.
Oh, sweet.
Exclusive. Wow. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna save it for the live show or the podcast. So the first one is my longtime friend. He's my partner that left the MBDrift crowd with me and started CMD. There would not be CMD without Nate Roberts. Like, he's my boy. He's been driving for a long time. He's done ProAMs. He's a Hyperfest feature driver. He's done clinics with me. And I just feel like we think pretty close. Like, any call he makes up there, I would probably agree with. And he's going to be at every event. So it's like my official CMD judge. You know what I mean? Like, I put him up there. Like, I think he's good. And then I want 2 consistent judges for each round, and then have a guest judge for each round. Wherever area we're in, get a guest judge. I thought that was cool. Spice it up. They might bring different spectators, different drivers to it. Mm-hmm. So my second consistent judge, I'm definitely got him locked in for the first one, and I'm working on getting the rest. We're getting Reese Marin.
Oh, okay. Reese is great. Okay. Yeah, Reese is great.
Reese is coming down. I think the world of him. I kind of looked at his history. I'm like, all right, this dude knows what's up. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I definitely value Reese. So that was big. to get him to come down all the way from Pennsylvania. That's far. So we'll fly him in, but he's worth it, right? So that was good. And then Atlanta, you got a lot of pick from Atlanta. There's a lot of stuff going on in Atlanta, But it was good. Dustin Miles, Dustin Miles, right?
Yeah.
He's helped me out quite a bit, and he put forth a suggestion to me, put me in contact with Greg, what was it, Bucell?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He did the first season of Klutch Kickers.
Right. Yeah. So, I talked to Greg, and I mean, it's right in his backyard. He's already got a couple of his guys going out already. And, he is real receptive to it and likes what's going on. And, he's going to be like our first one for the first round. I mean, if he wants to carry on the second round, I'd love to have him too. All these guys really, like, the experience they have, the knowledge, very good. And I knew how important a good judge is, right? I mean, that's the worst job. Oh my God.
Yeah. No, it is the worst job.
I don't know if you guys judge before, but that's terrible, So they can have at it though. I'll just I'll make sure everyone else has got water and staying hydrated and nothing crazy's going on.
Well, I think Reese could fend off anybody.
Yeah, Reese is pretty.
He's pretty hardcore. He can handle himself.
He seems like it. I mean, all three of them. You know what I mean? I think they'll just be fine. And the protesting deal, like I want to kind of be the person in between the judges and the protests. Come see me, kind of let me know your thoughts. But I'll have that petition out, cash money. If you want to protest, go ahead. But same kind of thing with other series. We only got the live stream guys. I got with the drone shots and stuff like that. That's what the judges see, right, and their eyes, and that's what they're going to base the calls off of. I'll be coming up with some GoPro footage or your buddy's cell phone stuff. Like, sorry.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, you get a lot of that at running to the judges stage. I got a picture of.
I got a better shot of this.
I got a better shot of this.
You only use official footage. Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of that. And then, do you have somebody that's going to be that buffer between the judges, or is that going to be you?
I would like to be. If not, I'll have one of my other crew members do it, but we'll make sure there's a buffer there so they can't just storm up to the judging tower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The first venue's nice. They got a skybox, air conditioned. We can shut the door so they can't just come in. So that'll be easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely a good idea because of all the different instances of either the spotter or somebody from the crew or the driver themselves or just everybody just like bum rushing the tower. And that's the other thing too. You got to make sure that they're at a good location.
Also, you remember spy devices, recording devices?
Oh, that's right.
Remember that?
Yes, I remember
found
that.
A recording device in the judges.
Oh, yeah, they did. They found somebody put a recording device, in the judges booth. Yeah. Believe that, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to look out for that. Dang,
You've been warned.
Yeah, you've been warned.
Yeah.
I got something for you. Maybe kind of throw you off the car thing. So, are you still doing milk testing?
What's that?
Competitions? Milk testing competitions?
Milk testing?
Yeah, I saw. I was like, I'm just gonna research this guy. And you got a video.
Oh my gosh, dude! You saw that video? Oh my gosh, man!
What was that? What was going on there?
That's gonna be like almost 20 years old. That's funny, man. I'm just glad that you didn't find the other videos of me on the internet that I had to take down.
No, I stopped there.
There was some wild stuff back in the day that I ain't gonna lie, I had to take down because I became a teacher. I was young once too. You know what I mean?
Well, at least the milk was still in glasses. It wasn't coming out the teats.
That was a good time.
It looked like you were having...
Yeah, we should have done that tonight. You should just ran.
You're right.
Milk. Let's figure it out.
That was funny.
That's good, man. That's good.
It's good. It's good to see. It's good that that's what I like about meeting other drivers and people from other areas is getting to know each other and just have a blast, right? Laughing and just talking about cars, but it ain't always about cars. A lot of times about family, right?
Yeah.
Having a good time with the family and just, a lot of times we go to events, like a good friend of mine, Chris Jackson, he runs the US Drift Circuit events. And his mom and his dad, just like you, are always at the events. And it's like I go out there and it's Mama Jackson, right? And then I'll go to a shop and I'll hang out, and Mama Jackson will be hanging out there, and she was like, "Hey, Tim, why do you do this for? Like, what do you guys do? All this money and all this investment, and and just go on, and it's just that." It's just great. Like it just adds to everything, and we always look back and say, yeah, those were the good old days. But man, we got many memories to come that we're gonna look back, 5, 6 years from now, hopefully 10 years from now. As long as I can push a clutch pedal in, I'm gonna be around. So
I like that.
Yeah.
I had a question regards to something that we witnessed on the website. Now, is US Drift involved with the series at all? Because one of the forums that we came across had the US Drift logo on it.
Oh, was it the tech?
I think it was the tech forum or something.
That's good. So Brian Eggert, dude, the godfather of drift organization. Big shout out to Brian. So I'm actually like a chapter of US Drift. So
okay.
when we left the Speedway, it's hard to get insurance for drift events. Imagine that, right? Like,
We've been there.
It's tough. And my buddy Keith Johnson was like, "Why don't you have Brian Eggert?" I was like, "The Formula Drift judge? Like that guy? Like, is he even going to talk to me?" And dude, he's fantastic, man. He's helped me out so much. He's like a mentor. So I use his tech sheet, right? Because I have to for my events. Now it's really for my other events outside of clean culture, like all these clean culture ones, like it's separate insurance policy. It's like all him, right? But I figure that tech sheet is, if you should at least pass that. That's like a basic tech. You know what I mean? That's as basic as it can get. So I kind of use that, but definitely promote him, work with him. Some. I do Hyperfest with him this year again. But yeah, we did a VIR event. That was a blast. Separate from Hyperfest. That was a good time. But he's solid, man.
I got kind of like a two-part question, and one is that are all of the venues going to have adequate space for the drivers with the trailers? And some of the trailers, obviously, they could camp in it. So will the drivers be able to camp with their trailers at the venues?
Okay. Yeah. So actually, Lanier just got back to me about that. They can park their rigs the night before and sleep in them if they wish. They're actually going to have a Friday night drift the night before for extra practice. So if you like to do that, you can sign up for that, and it gets you inside the facility, and you can stay that way. So that's nice. Florence should not be a problem at all with that kind of stuff. They have plenty of room. That track is really good with us. I've done events out there with them before. As far as the rest beyond that, I'm not 100% sure. Like Charlotte, I'm not too sure about that one or the others really. I doubt AMS because I've done a couple of events with AMS, and they always told me no. Like, vehicles can't come here night before, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. How's Dominion Raceway?
I've never been. I can't wait though. It looks sick.
Okay, yeah, because I don't think I've ever seen an event there.
US Drift did a ProAM there. I think 16 or 17.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It looks really fun now.
Okay.
So looking forward to that one. It's just far from me though. That's like almost 8 hours.
Because we had a debate over here about this, do you think $200 is enough for the protest fee?
I think so. I would say if I was putting up 20 grand per event, that number might go up. But some of these drivers that are going are my friends, and I know they ain't got more than $200 for that day. I ain't gonna lie to you, buddy. They're eating hot dogs from the gas station and sleeping in their truck. I know they ain't gonna have more than that.
Yeah.
It's just tough,
as far as media, like people trying to come there, do you have set media, or are you pretty much free range? As many people want to come as long as they sign up.
So all the media has to be approved through Clean Culture as far as that kind of stuff goes. But on track stuff, I do have MBK, Myrtle Beach Quads, here locally with me. They do live stream with some other organizations too, do a fantastic job. I mean, that's a lot of the media you're going to need as far as drone and video and stuff like that. They'll do additional media packages if someone wants one. And then I got a few select photographers that I'm hiring, to be inside the the track itself, taking pictures. You know, I don't want just anyone that's got a decent camera and a vest being on track at this kind of event. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it can be dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In regards to the live stream, where can people tune in for that? Is it going to be YouTube, Facebook, or all of the above?
Right now, they're looking into making sure they can split it. They do the YouTube and the Facebook at the same time. If not, I would probably lean towards YouTube because I think it's more universal.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like Facebook to me, it seems like Facebook, the numbers are kind of going off. They are, man. Like it's all Instagram for me now. Like I look at my, the Meta Business Suite and kind of see your interactions, and it's just a lot of it's Instagram.
Yeah. Only thing I go on Facebook for is Marketplace.
That's everybody now. That's it. Because other than that, now it's all ads and just stuff you don't really want to see. You know, it's kind of gone downhill, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I wonder what's going to be. I mean, right now it's Instagram. Who knows what's next to come?
I wish it would just take Marketplace outside and it's just like go solo.
Marketplace branch off from his own thing.
No, you're right, man. I mean, because that's what everyone uses it for.
All right. As far as the events, people want to purchase tickets. I mean, you want to basically have them go to your website, the cmdrift.com.
CMDrift. So for the 50Ks though, it'll all be Clean Culture. You know, cleancultureevents.com. You know, you get your spectator. You want to do the car show. You want to register for the drift. That's going to be all through them, man. Yeah.
Are they doing pit passes for drivers for pit crew, or is it just when you purchase a driver, it's a driver only?
It's all driver only. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And
will you be announcing the drivers list, or is there any of that?
That one's kind of tough. So I got the list, right? And this is what I get worried about. If I put out all the big boys, then it might scare away some of the smaller ones. You know what I mean? So I've kind of been holding back on some of them. Like I put out some, but there's a few in there. I'm like, if I put this guy out, you know, it might deter some of the other ones.
I'm not even bother, man. I'm not going to bother.
Right. No, and that's it. You know, so as I get these little flyers from Clean Culture, you know, I put them out. But I gotta say, you know, seems like everyone's on level of 400 horsepower and up. You know,
that's good.
This is what it seems like. Everyone's gonna be like at least 400.
Yeah, and if you said you're going to try to focus on keeping the tracks technical as possible to try to help the lower horsepower guys, I will tell you from our experience at Klutch Kickers, there are a lot of under horsepower guys, and there are actually
Boccia.
Yeah, I mean, there are some drivers that took out other drivers that we didn't think. I mean, Ryan Acevedo got taken out by a lower horsepower driver that won round. Yeah. And we've seen Dirk Stratton almost get it handed to him by somebody.
A G35
sedan, right? So I found the vast majority of guys with the lower horsepower often are excited to drive against these other guys that may be intimidating for a lot of drivers because you want to see how you stack up. Mm-hmm. And just the level of driving has changed to where your competition is going to have probably, if not the same, but better battles than round 1, round 2 of Formula Drift, right? From back then, because the competitiveness and the way the drivers are utilizing different tools like sim rigs and everything, you're seeing these drivers progress very quickly. Yeah. When you go to Klutch Kickers, and even the U.S. Drift Circuit stuff, and I know you're going to have some fierce battles at these events. If you get a chance, go back and watch some of round 1 or season 1, season 2 of the Formula Drift, and you're going to be like, wow, it's like the skill level is the way the game is just upped is so much. It's so incredible the level of competition. But real quick question, I meant to ask this earlier. Do you mess around with the sim rigs at all?
Dude, oh my gosh. What did I try the other day? I did some virtual reality goggles, you know, just tried it.
Yeah.
I get motion sickness real bad. The new GoldenEye or the old GoldenEye came out on Switch. I can't even play that, man. I throw up like pretty quick. Yeah, I just can't handle it. But I'll get in a drift car, no problem. I'll do the real deal, but I just can't. I'm old.
No, I
This is
understand.
what it is, man. I'm just old.
I'm right there with you, man. I went and I was like spinning out like crazy. I'm like, well, I can't take it anymore. This, and I didn't even have the goggles on. It was just regular screens with a Spark Speed Shop.
Yeah.
Oh,
And when
yeah,
I went to
that's
his
right.
shop there, he threw me on the sim rig. So,
Yeah. Are all of the, or actually, how soon would the layouts be published for the events? Do you have a time frame, or is it all going to be published all at once?
So like Lanier, right? Lanier has some restrictions of their facility. You know, like some areas they don't want drifted on. So we got a couple guys going out there this weekend to kind of test some stuff out, and we should have the layout pretty soon after that. We already have some good ideas. You know, now I got the judges. I'm getting their input. So that should be out pretty soon. But I will say round 2 at Florence Motor Speedway, there's really only one layout that works there. You know, and I'm gonna put that out pretty quick after round 1. You know, I mean, you can check out any of my YouTube videos from there. Like that one's gonna be fast. I mean, it's just an oval. You know, we're just gonna send it. Like that one will be pretty quick.
Okay.
In regards to one more times, is it going to be 2 runs, or is it going to be something something different and unique? And I mentioned that because the first year?
First season of
Klutch
Klutch
Kickers
Kickers was a 1 run one more time, which was, we were like, what?
I kind of liked it. It was different.
Did you?
It was weird.
I remember that too. I don't know. I like two runs. I mean, I know
Yeah,
it takes a
me too.
little bit more time, but you got to give that guy both sides. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's-
I mean, I get it.
I'm going
I just
to
like it was different. I thought it was different.
Yeah, I don't know.
It is. It is. You know, it was different.
Maybe a little too different.
I mean, I would probably do that at not as a big, you know, prize event. You know, if I had just a regular little comp, you know, $1,500 prize, I kind of like that actually. I might do that this year for my one in Raleigh in the summer. Maybe I'll do that.
You should do call outs too.
I love
do that.
call outs.
Yeah.
I love call outs. You know, Dustin Miles told me to do that. He's like, bro, instead of doing the buy run deal, why don't you just let drivers call out other drivers for the first, you know, round?
Yeah.
You know, the top 48. And I was like, we could, but I just don't want drama. You know what I mean? Like,
But you film it and you put it
That's
on
all.
YouTube, and everybody will love it. It'll be
Something to look forward to.
yeah.
that's funny. Yeah, man. I mean, dude, I'm all about like wrestling and stuff and call outs and making it a show. I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
We've
why
been
not
talking
do
about
it?
that for a long time.
Like do a Survivor Series, but every time I try and get wrestling involved with drifting, everyone's like, "No, Joe, no." I'm like, "Yes!" like I had an amateur wrestling event at one of my drift events. Like after drifting was over, we had amateur wrestling. I got in the ring and everything. It was amazing. You know, it was such a good time.
Wow. Yeah. No, we've been talking about that for a long time. Like, you know, get some chairs out on the track. You know, have managers and stuff like that. You know?
Right.
But you know, you're gonna have and that's one of the things that we talk about. You know, where is drifting gonna go? And a lot of people I've heard, and this is something like I said, we've been talking about for a long time. You got to build that fan base and get these fans, and like Gravedigger, right, with monster trucks. You know, the truck has its fan base, and now I don't think monster trucks ever really gotten into trash talking, but it just I think it could break out into a whole nother level of drifting and an entertainment factor, right? You'd still have your serious drifting competitions, but then branching off and having this like,
I don't know. I think
don't think so?
I think it needs to be an exhibition. Like I said last time, it really needs. I like the call out thing. I think it needs to be, hey, you got this person that you really want to see go against this person, and then see what happens. And it needs to be like a lineup of that type of thing. You know, like 8 different battles.
Yeah.
And it's all that kind of hyped up. Like, oh man, I've so wanted to see this guy drive against this guy,
right?
And see who wins. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I love that. See, I've done that a couple times. I did grudge matches with Dustin Miles and Joseph Love. I don't know if you remember Joseph Love.
yeah.
He did
Yeah.
KK. So they've had 2 grudge matches with me, and you know that did build some hype. It did. That helped. And even back in the early days, right? Like me and another driver, we did that. We went on the forums. This is before Facebook and all that, you know.
Yeah.
And we would talk trash to each other on the forums to build excitement. in reality, like we were friends. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
if you can find it, there's even a video of me dressed up like wrestlers with all my drifting friends, like way back in the day. I'll shoot it to you guys later if you want to check it out. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But we called it the call out video, you know, and we called out all kinds of companies and big drivers. I don't know, but I like that idea though, to do just exhibitions, like you said, do like 8 exhibitions for an event, you know, and then you have like your heavyweight battle at the end.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah, no, I think that's the future, because you got to get it to where you're bringing in more spectators. Because that's the thing. When we were literally leaving Klutch Kickers, and there was a huge event there the next day, and I think it was like a car show or whatever. But it was just, they brought so many more spectators than Klutch Kickers could bring, just because it appealed to
The grudge match style.
Yeah, it was a grudge match. I think it was a grudge match.
Yeah, it was
style.
a Bradenton Motor Speedway or
drift.
something.
It was probably a grudge match drag racing, which brought so many more spectators than drifting did. So we got to figure. I think we have to figure out some way that the spectators are involved in the decision, or at least understand the decision. Because every time I sit in the crowd and listen to them, they just don't understand the technical side of it. They don't get the minute details. They just like, this guy won, and that's what they think, and it gets too boring. It gets too technical. It needs to be less technical, more focused on just a good show.
Yeah, and we talked about the top 10 style competition, like Street Outlaws. If you ever watch Street Outlaws, how they have the top 10 guys. And you do something like doing even like a top 10 in your area, right? And you have that grudge match, and then who's going to work their way up to the top. And then at the end of the year, they retire as champion to get a crown, and you move on. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get creative and I think build anticipation, like you said. Yeah. And then get the word out there. And being there with Clean Culture, I mean, that's going to help you. I mean, that's a great way to just segue those people that are coming in for the car show to get into the world of drifting as a fan.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, but dude, I like this, man. Let's set this up, boys. Let's do a pay-per-view, you know, find a venue. Let's get some grudge matches going, you know.
Man,
like, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
I am. That'd be awesome.
You've mentioned a couple of times Dustin Miles in our conversation, and one of the things I also noticed too is he's been a part of some of your events. One of them also was a K1 Drift Night, if I recall correctly. So how often is Dustin Miles involved as an advisor, as a friend, and you know, what's his take on this?
Yeah, I mean, he's just a good friend of mine. You know, I mean, he's in Atlanta. He's far away, but he's just been very supportive of what I've been doing for a long time. You know what I mean? Like the first one I did with him, you know, we mentioned Nopi before, right? Mm-hmm. And the first big event I ever did was at that abandoned amusement park. And instead of calling it Nopi, I called it Jopie. Right. and
might as well.
But it wasn't because of me. I mean, a little bit. Of course, I'm running the show, right? So, but it was really because of Joe Love and that grudge match with Miles. You know what I mean? Okay. So that's what we did, you know. But yeah, I mean, I think that will work out that way.
So what else can drivers and spectators? What else can they expect this year for the 50K series?
You know, Clean Culture's going to be doing burnout competitions. Like I said, that paid ride-along deal. So you go for a ride with these guys. You know, Nick's got all kinds of stuff going over there with the music, car show, the girls that I can't really have at my events. You know, that kind of stuff.
Wait, what?
So,
girls?
You know, the models, all that stuff that I can't hire. So, you know, I think it's just got everything around. Like he's talking about doing raffles, probably, you know, the limbo stuff, just whatever we can do to build that excitement.
Okay, and so obviously you have the social media handles, and where can people go to follow along this year?
Here, I'm having a hard time hearing you. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there we go. There we go. I just raised it. Okay. Can you say that again?
The social media channels and handles that people can use to follow along for the series this year.
Yeah, just my social media. I mean, just the CMD Catch My Drift. I know it's like kind of long, so I know I need to work on that. Even a hashtag CMD is kind of going to get lost with some other stuff. I know that's that social media thing has been quite the challenge for me. I can run an event, but I am not a marketing guru or a social media expert at all. Like I think I've done decent for just your average Joe, but it's that stuff I'm still learning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do have a friend of mine. He took the meta course, and that helped a good bit. And he ran my social media for a little while, and then he did way better job than I did. But he just had to take a little break for a little while. So it's been me, and it's kind of been lame. But I'm working on it. I'm working. It's all about the reels, bro. Let's be real.
Yeah.
It's all about the reels. And
Yeah.
That's why I get, like, I know a friend right now. He puts up a reel like every 3 days, and he gained like 10,000 followers in 1 year. He's just a stunt bike rider, just reels. So it's weird.
Yeah, I haven't figured that out either. But I'm like you. I'm not. Yeah, no, that's not my forte.
Yeah.
And you have so many now: TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram.
Yeah.
Like what one do you pick? And you think about it. You think about your demographic, though, right? I mean, we do get that data. I mean, it's 16 to 35-year-old men, right? And it's really probably like 16 to 30. What platform are they on?
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, Instagram. When I tell my kids to get on my Instagram, like or follow whatever, they're like, okay, grandpa. You know what I mean? like, bro, they don't even care about Instagram anymore. It's TikTok and Snapchat. And to get on those in front of them, like maybe not so much TikTok, but Snapchat, it's going to cost you money. How are you going to get across them on Snapchat? So it's been quite the challenge,
Is there anything else you have yet to announce, or you're still sort of holding onto close, so that way then you could kind of finalize it and announce it later?
I'm sorry, you were breaking up.
Yeah, sorry. Is there anything else you have yet to announce?
Oh, for you guys, I mean, I'll tell you some sponsors that we've gotten. It's pretty good. I won't tell you exactly the prizes, but Tire Streets jumped on board. I don't know if you've seen any of the flyers, but they're giving all the drivers a good discount. As soon as you sign up, you get the code. Thought that was cool. KBD Body Kits, Irving.
Yeah.
Dude, I love Irving, man. Irving is fantastic. He is big supporter of drifting in general. So cool, funny. You know what I mean? He did a big event with me last year up in that Raleigh area. Do another one this year, but he's going to be involved with the series as well. So that'll be good. I love Irving and KBD products. I did get told Fuel Tech is on board, but that was cool. That was recent. Fuel Tech. I'm not exactly sure on all the details, but Nick told me he got them. Silver Suspension.
Yeah.
Silvers, yeah. So they'll be helping us out. Grip Royal, he's making.
Yeah, Grip Royal is great, Scott.
Yeah, dude, Scott's the man. He's doing CMD Clean Culture steering wheels, limited edition. So I thought that was real neat. Bridge Moto, they're giving out some stuff.
He's a good
Alan,
guy.
fantastic. It's hard for me with the sponsors too, man. Like once this thing got going, like this really was quick. I would say not even 10 days from the time that Clean Culture was like, all right, let's do it, to putting it out. A little quicker than I wanted to, but I understand, you got to get those dates out, right? That's why I didn't have all that information out right away. So and then I contact all these sponsors and I'm like, Joe Gorcesky, what? Like, who are you? Like you're nobody. They won't even return my phone calls or emails. And I'm like, I get it, right? And even the drivers, like I was hoping for more drivers to sign up. Like we're doing good, but I was hoping to fill it up already. And we haven't. I think just people are unsure of me. Like they probably don't know who I am or CMD is. And this is great. So I really appreciate you guys putting me on the show today and, hopefully get this information out more. But I mean, I ain't out there to screw anyone over, and just have a good time, and hopefully we can grow this thing, man, and get some more sponsors on board and keep this thing going. the beautiful thing with clean culture, and Nick's already mentioned it, like he's doing events in every state of the country. Like he is he is a national brand. He's got one. He's doing one in Japan in May.
Like, really?
Yeah, this dude's a go-getter, man. Like he's really expanding. He's like, yo, we should do more of these. Like, let's do national next year. I'm like, yo, calm down. Let's get through season 1, okay, buddy? You know what I mean? But it's not to say that it's out of the question. He's already putting on these big car shows, and he's already got these good vendors. He's got some of the famous YouTubers and icons, whatever you want to call it, that go to his events. So it's like it's really, maybe that could happen. That's what I like to see, honestly. Like, why not do $20,000 around next year national, and try and compete with the big boys? Why not?
Right. Sky's the limit, man. Sky's the limit. Don't contain yourself in a box, right? Just because somebody else maybe is doing it at the same time doesn't mean anything, right?
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm pretty much tapped out as far as questions. I mean, is there anything that you shout outs or anything you want maybe that you feel you left out you want to talk about before we call it a night?
Let's look over. I had some notes down. I like to give a shout out to my wife. Sorry, I just got to, guys.
No,
we all
love you.
Yeah, we're all there.
Thanks for taking care of the kids tonight. Keeping them out of the room and stuff. She does a great job, and my wife works all my events, so big shout out to her.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and just my crew, man. Ben Thrillkill, Keith Johnson, Nate, Dustin Hash, Cornell Williams. Just want a big shout out to my boys that helped me out pretty much all my events. Ethan coming on out. I really appreciate it. And all the drivers, man. Just like a lot of drivers hit me up as soon as I announced it. We're like, thank you so much for taking this on, Joe. Because like honestly, I was considering not doing anything this year. I was like, man, there's enough drifting in the U.S., especially the East Coast. Like, is there really a need for me anymore? I can just go to events and hang out and be fine. But I was like, but this opportunity is here, and I took the dive, man. I'm going all in, and I'm gonna give it my all this year, and hopefully I make it. And if I don't, oh well, at least I could say I tried. Yeah.
You fail at 100% of the tries you don't take, right? The chances you don't take, you're always going to fail. So, we wish you the best, and it looks like you got a great thing going here, teaming up with Clean Culture. So I'm really hoping that this isn't just a one-time thing, and hey, maybe you get to go to Japan and drift in Japan, right?
Yeah.
Throw an event. I mean, think about
gosh.
that, right? It's like the dream. Yeah, it'd be amazing. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and just be willing to just talk to 3 older guys that have been around just about as long as you have, right? And we all have the same heart, and even though we've never met, I could say that I found a friend that lives up north that I know if I'm up there, I can reach out to and say, hey, listen, Joe, I want to come to an event and just chill, grab some dinner together and have some good memories. So the best of luck to you, man. We'll support you, and we'll do whatever we can on our end to make sure everybody knows and pass the word along.
Hey,
you guys got anything else?
No.
Yeah, it's just great what you guys are doing, man. I know this is a lot of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's 10 o'clock at night, on Friday night, and here you are working on spreading the news of drifting, helping the sport grow. So just thank you very much.
You got it, man. Well,
thank you.
If you guys don't have anything else?
No, that's it.
That's it.
It's been great.
Good night, Joe, man. Have a great night. Tell your wife we said thank you for letting you join us tonight and take care of the kids.
Will do, guys. You have a good night, okay?
All right,
thank
you too.
Man.
Good night.
Good night.
Later.
All right, folks. With that, I got nothing else.
No.
Right? You got nothing else?
Yeah.
Well, you got nothing else. You got some huge news.
What huge news?
Wait, what?
So Ben finally debunked the electric car theory.
Oh, wait,
he took a trip.
Oh gosh,
He took a trip. He took a trip in the Prius,
We talked
and
about that last week,
unequivocally, no, he didn't talk. He didn't take it in a Prius.
Oh.
He did a second trip.
Oh, we did a second trip.
A second trip. So the first trip was
we're talking about the Tesla.
The first trip was in a rented EV, and it was nothing but nightmares and headaches. 5.5 hours of recharging the battery, and about almost $50 of what he would have had to pay to charge the electric vehicle. He took the same trip, taking the route he wanted to take in his Prius, and only spent $31.
It was cheaper to take the Prius?
It was cheaper to take the Prius.
Cheaper,
and faster because he didn't have to stop 3 times on the way there and on the way back.
Well, actually, It was more than 3 times.
Yes, 15 times.
Yeah.
Garbage.
Ooh.
So it's debunked. Hybrid's the way to go.
Yeah, but now
EV
EV's
EV's not the way to go.
The world.
You're still polluting the world with
Yeah,
EV.
well,
The EV is
okay.
just, the children and all the slave labor
the-
goes
oh,
to
stop.
boring
Gosh, here we
to
go
mining
again.
the cobalt.
Stop,
I'm just
stop.
saying.
All right.
Yeah, you're not polluting this part of the
Big
world,
oil
but you're
filling
just
your
moving.
pockets.
Yeah, fill my pockets. You're just moving the pollution somewhere out of
Big
sight. That's
oil's
all.
filling your pockets.
You
boys.
know I'm right. Anyhow, I just wanted to end on that.
Well,
Otherwise-
that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, well, one thing I did, one of the things that during our conversations and part of the reason why I brought up the one more times is just I just kept thinking back to Brandon Woodnick,
yeah.
the King of One More Times, and how often that occurred, and yeah, it's great, it's fun, but it does sort of delay things
I wonder
a
if
bit.
Brandon will drive this series.
Good question.
Well, that's a good question.
It'll be closer for him.
But he's on the right path. He's like, I got the judges. I'm going to have to trust them to handle that. Because as an
Yeah.
event organizer, you can't micromanage everybody. You say, okay, you're the judges. I'm gonna let you handle that. Whether he's going to be the buffer or he's going to have somebody else be the buffer, I think he should have somebody else be the buffer, because I think him being the face of Catch My Drift, him having to tell people no could, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think he should find somebody else to take the grunt of that. That way he can not have to get that negative light.
Decouple himself from
Right,
that, yeah.
exactly. Kind of just, hey, listen, these are the people I have in charge of it, and I trust them to make the right decision. If you have an issue, you have to take it up with them.
Yeah, and a major reason for that is that we witness how heated and how intense it gets at these events. It just seems, from the outskirts, and it may seem like, oh, what's the big deal? It's just it's just a protest or something. But some of the things that people say and do, and how crazy it gets because of what's at stake, really sort of surprises you on what comes about with these protests.
Yeah, like what level people will stoop to, right? And what at that point, or also just what people are capable of. It just, it will shock you.
Well, that's one end of the spectrum, but at the same time, how you have, a lot of these drivers and their teams really looking over all of the details and looking at the specificity of
The rule book.
And just highlighting just all of the things, just following closely by with the live stream. And that's another important asset to it, because if they're all utilizing this one tool to help decide, some of these battles, they're gonna have to make sure that the right call is made. And if it doesn't go the right way, then everybody has to have their guard up for what's about to occur.
I think I really like this now, because I like the no qualifying. For some reason I didn't catch on to the clean culture thing. I didn't know that was happening at the same time.
What do you mean?
I didn't know that clean culture was involved in there, and they're doing a drift. They're doing like a car show at the same time. I think that adds so much more to it.
Value, yeah.
Because you get so many more spectators. Like what we saw at Fuel Fest. If they bring anything like that, it is. If Klutch Kickers could have been happening in front of the Fuel Fest audience, dude.
Yeah.
Well, they did have an event down here at the South Florida Fairgrounds last year with Adam LZ.
Yeah.
And they brought together, it was
but it's
more
not
of an expedition.
It's not even the same competition, dude. Like if they could get drivers that drove Klutch Kickers, like a lot of those high competitive guys, in front of a crowd like that, good man.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
you'll wow the
insane.
audience. You think the audience is wowed with the local drifters going around.
Adam's good, but a lot of people that are driving on those events, other than Adam, or maybe Chelsea and Adam, that's really
but they're not in their pro cars. They're not going balls to walls. It's not a competition where they're banging doors.
There's not a lot of people there that are challenging, Chelsea and Adam on those events.
Well, there's no need to. It was an exhibition.
There are a lot of bro events too. It's like it needs to be. I think it needs to be a competition and bring out more. It's more competitive driving. So, like I said, if you had Klutch Kickers competitive driving in front of the Fuel Fest or Clean Culture, type of people, I think that's really the winning the winning formula.
Yeah.
And so I would be, I think this will do pretty well.
Yeah, I think doing the grudge match style during the clean culture, like the next season, switch it to grudge match style during the clean culture, and then you can
get the same kind of buy-in that Klutch Kickers got with the competitive drivers, then I think it'd be really cool to see like a grudge match.
16 of these drivers
just going at it,
and they're already locked in the battle lot. This person's battling this person.
Yeah,
everybody knows. Like you can do there's a whole way you can do a flyer. They can be challenge each other. Like
it doesn't have
MMA
to get like that.
It
doesn't have to get like that. It just needs to be pre laid out and say, hey, these are people are going against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Do fun rides and maybe have some normal guys in the mix of like
ride along some practice in between.
And then boom, hit it with a show and that type of thing. And then
Wait, so
incorporate.
Just to clarify, so what you're saying is for the qualifying format of the series, have the drivers sort of pick out who they want to battle against, and the ones that don't.
That's one idea, but I'm saying no. I think eventually it needs to be an exhibition style where you're working your way up, that type of thing, up the ranks. Maybe that's the way it is. Fuel Fest this time around, they're letting the spectators choose who's going to be in the competition and choose who wins each. So that'll be a real test. I mean, they're really testing that kind of idea, right? So I don't think I've ever seen that happen before. So it'll be interesting to see who they pick, because there's a lot of good drivers going to that event.
Yeah, they just pick. I like his car. Like red.
Yeah,
I like red. The guy spun out 20 times. Yeah, but I like red. I think he should go against Adam LZ.
That's going to be the case. I think the most exciting drivers will get picked. I really doubt. I mean, obviously, flashy cars are going to get picked, and exciting drivers. Chelsea's going to be in, I think, the Fox body. So does he even get picked?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's what was interesting, because the Fox body's not very exciting looking.
Mm-hmm.
Now Chelsea's a great driver, but does that was because Gabriel was talking about driving against Chelsea. I'm like, well, that's if you even get picked. I said you better do something exciting with the car.
My car sounds so great, man.
Yeah, I said
sounds cool,
I said
bro.
if you really want to get picked, you need to stuff something in your exhaust.
Like garbanzos.
Because
garbanzo beans.
Blowing people's eardrums is not going to get the votes, I'm telling you. But
he needs a big wing.
Big wang.
That'll get it.
Big wang always gets it. No, so Chelsea's car's not that like flashy. Obviously, Adam's always going to get the cheers and stuff like that. But Adam needs to drive a car that's flashy. He can't be driving that 350Z that somebody can't really tell. I think the last Fuel Fest he ended up driving his 350Z.
I mean, it is a recipe for disaster in the sense that say Adam LZ goes out there and he's battling, I don't know, who was somebody else, not Chelsea, but maybe
Bill Stenger.
So Bill Stenger. Say he's battling Bill Stenger.
Stinger's
right?
fully signed up, so I don't even know.
So say they go out there, right? Bill Stenger is on Adam's door. Adam, for some reason, straightens out or spins out, but the crowd doesn't care because they like Adam. He could still win.
Mm-hmm.
So they could be like, well, wait a minute. No, he spun, but people don't care because that's Adam LZ.
See, I don't care about that because, I mean, in all honesty, I think at the end of the day, the drifters actually know who won. You go out, it's when the money gets involved is when it's going to be difficult. But for bragging rights, I mean, it's just like, I don't know. It's not a big deal to me.
Yeah, to you. But maybe to other people it will be. Like,
Oh,
why
yeah,
am
of
I
course,
going to go out and drift an event when nobody knows me and I have the unfair advantage of somebody that's on YouTube and has a following that thousands of people came just to watch him?
I wouldn't.
Do you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
So I'm just saying there's a recipe for disaster in
there's
the aspect.
There's also opportunity. Like that's what's really driving Gabriel. Gabriel's has this idea that he may take out Chelsea. And he really wants to do that in front of a crowd.
Well, he says high aspirations.
Yeah. So, I mean...
I really don't understand.
Are you going to be your spotter? Are you going to be his spotter?
You're going to be a spotter?
What? He keeps asking me
I told him
that.
I told him to
yeah,
ask you.
Thanks, Paul. Really. Great idea. Another
You'd
one
be a great
of your...
spotter.
Noel will get distracted with the Mustangs.
Oh, God. What?
Oh, there's so many Mustangs. I just saw Mustangs.
Why? Okay, two things. One, to touch on what you guys are talking about in regards to the fans and how they're going to judge accordingly. Let's say, for instance, let's take the following out of the equation. Let's take two individuals that don't have great followings. I'm not going to name them because it's, random people. What's to say that the flashier car takes a horrible line compared to the other car, and then the flashier car wins because it just looks or seemed better. So that's sort of the thing that sets competitive judge drifting apart, because at least that those the judging criteria was obviously implemented to make sure that the better driver
that kind of goes back to me. It goes back to how we were talking about is a monster truck. The trucks are flashy. It has to be. If you start watching monster trucks when it went from racing to stunt and really just focus on crowd, what did the trucks start turning into? They started turning into these monsters, like actual monsters,
the crazy,
like actual monsters,
fiberglass bodies,
something like really exciting. Before that, they were actually just like trucks.
Yeah.
And then Gravedigger really had the only theme.
Right, and then you had El Toro that had the horns now.
But then you came out with these freaking gigantic bulls and whatever remember Goldberg's truck looked like. It got crazy. And your car needs to be flashy. Your car needs to be exciting. It needs to be something that what people want to look at and see. So no, it doesn't bother me as much.
This begs the question: do you think now some of these drivers that are going to take part in the Fuel Fest event, are they going to flash their vehicles up in some way to stand out from the rest?
I was trying to tell Gabriel he needs to do something, make it exciting. I don't know what he could do.
He feels his car is exciting enough.
Yes, he does.
The symphony that's being performed out of the tailpipe is one of a kind, and it feels that it's incomparable to the rest. And that right there is enough to stand himself apart. But it's whose car probably would get a lot of likes is I don't know if he's driving Byron Parrish. His car looks nice. That's right.
I think that car gets a lot of flashiness, and I think that would get a lot of people excited. What other cars do you guys think around here that would be going to there?
Well, let me as you're talking, I'm going to pull up the list.
Yeah, but his car is
flashy.
Is he doing the S14 or is he doing?
Oh yeah, well no, I didn't even think about that. If he's driving the S14, yes. If he's driving the E46,
But even S14, it's a good looking car. It's purple, but it's kind of plain.
No, but the S4 it's clean culture, and that car is pretty clean.
Well, you're talking about clean culture. We're talking about Fuel Fest.
You're right. But I'm still thinking there's a car show, right? So most of the people looking at cars are going to look at, that nice car's nice and clean, or car's flashy. A little jacked up E46 is not going to get.
All right, I'll go to the list right fast because I don't have it set up for people to just watch it. But Chelsea Enough, Max Consul, Mateo Rendon, Dustin Patton, Ryan Deering, Byron Parrish.
Yeah, see,
Bryce Sander, Leo Alvarado, Louis Lons, Bruno Riviero. Louis Lons has Zach Polov's old Klutch Kickers Corvette, right?
Yeah, but that's not really that flashy to me either. He took all the graphics are off now, so it's really just like a black vet.
Okay.
Okay.
So
let's see, Bruno Riviero, Salvio Silva.
Salvio.
Okay. Well, his car's green.
Paolo
the car's green, so it's pretty
flashy.
It's pretty flashy.
It has a good track presence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Stephen Weeks, Eric Noguera, Alberto Rosa.
Okay. Big boost. I mean, his car is pretty flashy.
Alberto's car looks pretty flashy. It's got a. It's easy to remember, right? You got to make it easy to remember. The car with the guy with the anime on his car, purple.
Victor
Blues.
Escobar, Corey Camille, Gabriel Jordan. Who's that guy? Gabriel Jordan.
Yeah.
Henry Pavone, Chris.
Should have bleeding ears next to the name.
This is going to be tough. Chris Mikasinovich. Okay. Tim Fonseca, Javier Fernandez, Sasha Prospero, Nicholas McPeak, Kyle McSweeney, Alex Puig, Tom
Alex Puig's his car looks pretty good with the panda on the side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty flashy. I like our Sasha Prospero. No, it's like
No.
it looks like a.
Unless he did something to it, the
Unless he
red
painted
with
it,
blue painter's tape on the side.
Yeah,
Zach Calvin, Davey Peoples, Christian.
Zach Calvin's car is pretty flashy.
Davey People's car is kind of flashy.
Yeah, David People's car's nice.
Christian Pavone, Daniel Hoy, Valentin Zarpel, Xarpello, Tommy Voivert Velamer.
Colette's not driving? Colette's not driving?
Well, let me finish the list.
Oh,
Relax.
okay. I thought it was being the front.
Willie Espinosa, Kyle Casey, Charles
Willie
Ron.
Espinosa?
Yeah, Willie
That's
Espinosa.
going to be crazy.
Oh, the RX-7, right? The
Yeah, that
L-Powered
thing is
RX-7.
insane.
Yeah, okay.
That's going to drive people. That's going to be
Yeah.
like, everyone's like, oh my God, that car.
that car's pretty
Because
good.
the car is nuts.
Yeah.
The car is like, you remember watching that thing at
Oh,
Klutch
yeah, of
Kickers?
course I
Just
remember.
listening to it was insane.
It just has a track presence. So
It's got a great presence.
Charles Ron, Tyler Ello, Andy May, Randy Noah, Thomas Muller, Ryan Gruber, Bradley St. Germain, Sergio Hanazono, John Temple, Colin Arundel, Chris Irvin, Bill Stanger, Sean Casey, Andrew Rivera, Mitchell Rohr, Nicholas Collier, Brian Sturman.
Brian's coming down. Cool.
Brian.
Yep. Duarte Viana, Andrew Maurer, Sean Booth, JD Martirana, and Joel Garcia.
Sean's always,
Sean
yeah.
Booth and Duarte.
Yeah.
So it's some pretty good heavy hitters coming for that. So that's good.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see who the crowd picks. You know?
Who they pick
And how does
to
it how
partake in the top 16 competition, and then how the battles will get decided. Because for all we know, let's say the person that doesn't have the flashiest car, but happens to wall ride throughout the course.
Are they going to do it by
Puts on a
cheering? Or
better
are they going
show.
to have an app? I mean, what, are they going to have a petition?
Beats
Poll petition?
me.
Are they going to do the poll petition?
Hey,
Poll
there we
petition.
go.
Bring it back.
That'd be great. Yeah, so that's happening at Fuel Fest. What's the date again? The 25th.
25th.
Yeah, next weekend.
Is,
Next weekend.
West Palm Beach. They're going to have open session, drift basketball, top 16 competition.
The
And
drift
then-
basketball, I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know why you're doing that.
Okay.
I mean, that's from like back in the day with us and Skid Pad. That's like,
Well, he was doing that at Seabank.
Mike.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's. I'm sorry, Chris. That's stupid. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to take any wagers if
I'd be pretty upset if I'm here to drive and they're doing drift basketball. Like, can't you go do that in like a corner or something?
They did the drift basketball at Sebring.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was in the corner. Go
Yeah.
do it in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they're not like, you're going to go do it. We can't drive because you're going to do drift basketball. This reminds me of like when we used to do County Line, they had to do the sideshow. They had to do the stupid
We're
dirt
gonna
bike
bring
sideshow.
motorcycle
dirt bikes
stunts. Everybody loves motorcycle stunts.
Like, oh, God, no, come on. What the hell? We want to drift. I don't know. That's my two cents.
So, Paul, do you want to take a guess now? There's two guesses.
Two guesses.
Yeah, two types of guesses. Will Gabriel make the show? And then the second guess is
His
how
car is not-
far along will he get
He'll lose
into
in
the
first
competition?
Round. First round, he loses.
First round he loses.
Yeah, because
you're calling that.
First round he loses. He grips up and he comes out of drift.
Oh, you're calling it already like that.
Yeah,
So, okay.
I tried to tell him, he was refusing. He's got 285s now. He's gripping himself up even more. He said, "Oh, I'm not gripping up anymore." But he's just
The only good thing
slowly
is
turning
The only
everything
good thing is
more.
that track isn't grippy,
Yeah, I guess
so he may.
he may not. No,
May
it's
not,
pretty
'cause-
dusty and nasty. Actually,
So you're saying he gets picked and he gets eliminated in the first round of
By understeering,
by
Yeah.
understeering.
By understeering. Okay.
Well, not understeering,
No?
but like coming out of drift.
coming out of drift.
Okay.
But
Tim,
I don't know. Now that Tim said that he's right, it's pretty dusty.
Okay. Okay.
So I don't know.
All right. Well, let's think about it further, but let's
Okay.
just stick with that.
Yeah.
That's my
Tim?
projection of Gabby. How he's gonna do?
Yes.
Oh, I don't think.
Wait. It's a two-part.
Okay.
Will he get accepted into the competition? And if he does,
There's a lot of ugly cars there.
how
You gotta think
far?
about that.
How far will he get along?
But I don't know if there's
16?
There's 16 out of like 50 people that signed up. or
Something like that. Yeah.
I don't know.
There's
a lot of.
I mean, I want him. I'd like to see him compete because I think he enjoys competition, and I think he does. I think he does well competition. I don't see him getting picked if it's up to the audience.
Oh,
I don't.
okay.
Because of the exhaust.
Just because it's a Z, it's and I think he should. I mean, his design is cool, but I don't like gray cars.
But he doesn't. He's very minimalistic.
And that's fine. We're just saying. I don't think he's going to be flashy enough.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. He needed to do something to the car and stuff something. In the exhaust.
He needs to be like riding the wall, full lock on entry.
To be very aggressive. Yeah,
he has to be very aggressive if he wants to make the cut. And the only reason I'm saying is because the spectators are judging this. So I don't think he's going to make the cut. If it comes down to spectators, I don't think he's going to. You got Sean Booth. You got a lot of good drivers. Duarte, Savio, Adam LZ, Chelsea Denofa. But even Chelsea, like you said,
I
Chelsea.
don't think Adam is in it.
Oh, I thought you said it was.
No.
Oh, he's not. Oh,
No.
okay.
Adam's not driving.
No.
Really?
I just named
I
off.
thought you said Adam.
Maybe we just
Chelsea.
assumed.
Oh, okay. Gosh, now I'm gonna have to put this up.
You don't have to put it up.
No, you don't
I'll take your word for it.
Whatever.
I don't know. That's my opinion. Now, if he does get in, I think he'll make it past the first round because he shows pretty good consistency. If his car's holding up.
Well, I don't.
I think
I don't doubt his car.
Ever since I haven't seen him compete with the Supercharge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did.
King of
That's right. He did King of OSW.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he straightened out.
that's right.
I give so much so much crap about that.
So I think if he does make the cut, he'll make it past the top 16, but he'll get knocked down in the top 8.
Okay. Well, there you go. Those are
Predictions.
The predictions. I don't want to comment.
Yeah, I don't think.
Hey, you're the spotter. You got to be positive.
Yeah, I don't. Look, that he's been asking me for a long time
I don't
now,
know why
and
you
I'm
won't do
just.
I told him to.
I
He wanted to do
don't
Noel
wanna-
first, and I said, "No, don't do Noel. Pick Ben. Ben knows." And he's like, "You're right. Ben does know. Ben's the man." And he's like, "Ben won't do it. you gotta tell Ben to do it. He won't. I'm begging him. He won't do it. He's being an ass."
I don't know, man. He just won't do it.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, maybe on the next episode, I'll have a decision on whether or not if I want to be his spotter.
It'll be
It'll
over.
be over. You're
What?
gonna give us a play-by-play after that.
Oh,
after-
is
Yeah,
that what
next
you want?
weekend.
Oh no, I don't. He doesn't need a spotter for that.
That's
Fuel
what he
Fest?
wanted.
No, he doesn't want a spotter for that.
It's for ProAM that
Yes,
he
you
wants a
dummy.
spotter for. Yeah.
Oh.
I forgot.
Oh, you forgot. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot.
Well, my apologies.
Ah, jerk.
Okay, well then I take
Yeah,
back my apology.
That's why you can't have Noel, because Noel's a judge.
Noel's judging again?
Yeah. So you have to go, and you have to be there and support him.
What do you want out of this?
I
Like,
don't-
there's something you're trying to do something here,
I don't know.
and it's only until like if I say yes that you'll be like, yes, I got what I was looking for, and now the plan, the motion is set.
It's set. Yeah, I do. I do have a plan. So just please go along with my plan, please.
All right, Ben. Put us
boy.
out of our misery.
Yes, indeed. Okay, folks. Yeah, thank you for watching. I think 2 weeks from now,
Yep.
right? Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. But want to thank again, Joe, for being a guest, and thank you all for tuning in. And hope to catch you next time. Take care and good night.